In The Hunt, a group of the liberal elite kidnap seemingly random individuals from across America, transport them to an isolated area, and then hunt and kill them. Only one person fights back. The Hunt is a film that will provoke and anger certain viewers. It's a film that's deliberately trying to incite a reaction, even if it means the film lacks any nuance or subtlety. It's overly violent and overly gory, presenting grisly, gruesome deaths for titillation and sometimes humour. It also has strong political themes and messages that are forced and heavy-handed. The Hunt will not, therefore, be for everyone. In terms of its story, it lacks much in the way of originality. There are obvious similarities to films such as The Hunger Games and Battle Royale, as well as the Purge franchise. Only in this film, the reasons for the violence are slim and bizarre. One rule of filmmaking is show, don't tell. In The Hunt, the only thing the film wants to show us is violence in action. When it comes to the story, the film literally has characters sitting down and explaining everything. It's not subtle, it's not nuanced, but it does get the point across like being slapped in the face by a fish. Additionally, as a comedy film, or at least part comedy, it's aggressively not funny. A lot of the violence and gore is supposed to incite laughter from the audience, especially the instances in which characters get shot or stabbed and simply brush them off with little to no reaction. Ultimately, the comedy in the film is out of place and poorly executed. That being said, the film is enjoyable. The action scenes, despite being too graphic and gory, are exciting and thrilling. There are good elements of suspense too, when characters are trying to figure things out and spot the lies. There are also plenty of shocks, twists and surprises, particularly in the first third of the film, which kept me on my toes and made me expect anything. Add on the fast pace and the short runtime and this can be a fun film at times. The characters of the film are a bit stereotypical and simplistic though. There are only two characters who get any sort of backstory, and one of those is primarily left for interpretation. This means that Betty Gilpin's great performance is the only real reason to root for her, and the reliance on familiar names and faces is all that carries the early goings of the film. Also, because of the politically charged story and motivations in the film, it means that a lot of the characters simply aren't likeable at all. There are moments in the film in which I was wanting certain individuals to be killed, even though the film wanted me to relate to them. The film is well paced, never slowing down or becoming boring. The action scenes, while too gory, are fun and exciting and well choreographed, and the score does a good job of building tension and setting the mood. The Hunt certainly has a pulpy enjoyability factor to it. The controversial political themes and messages get in the way of things too much though, as does the excessive gore and violence. The film has an unoriginal plot and simplistic characters too. Overall, this won't be for everyone, but it's certainly not boring and it will pass the time. Before I go into a couple of spoiler points, subscribe to my channel to get more content like this. Also, go over to Twitter and Instagram and follow me at _Grant Burton, and consider following me on Letterboxd to get my written reviews as well as a star rating for films like The Hunt. Now though, I'm going into full spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, go and watch it and then come back and watch the rest of this. Betty Gilpin's character is presented in an interesting way. We are led to believe she has military experience. However, in the same scene we are also led to believe she might be crazy. Later on, it's suggested that she merely has the same name as the person the liberal elite wanted to hunt. While I liked her performance, I would have also liked to have some definitive answers about her identity and backstory. It's okay to leave some things up for interpretation, but having finished the film, I was left with what I thought were pretty important unanswered questions. It was frustrating. The main villain of the film, portrayed by Hilary Swank, is initially treated as a mystery. Her identity is hidden and we only ever hear her voice. Why? There's a scene about halfway through in which we finally get the big reveal of who she is, but it falls completely flat for multiple reasons. The audience up to that point had no idea who her character was, so it wasn't shocking to finally see her face. If the intent was to be surprised by it being Hilary Swank, that also failed because she was revealed in full in the trailer of the film. Why spend so much time making something secret if the reveal of that secret means absolutely nothing? It's bizarre. Finally, I want to praise the first act of the film for keeping me on my toes and playing with expectation. The opening moments constantly introduce us to potential lead characters, establishing them and setting things up. only to suddenly and shockingly kill them and then transition onto a new lead character. It works really well, meaning anything can happen in the film, but it's something that can only last so long.